finished Spurs 2, Everton 1. I tell you what, Everton give everything. Everton give everything since 2-0 down. Everton give everything they had. Gomes played like he wanted the future at this football club. He was outstanding, and I don't know if you can hear it, but the reception from the away end here is credit to the players who gave everything second half. And do you know what? We could have done it. Could have done it if Danjuma finished at the end there. He had a chance. Just hit it over. If he hits the target, it's a goal. But listen, Everton are a lot better team than they were last year, coming away from home against a team like Spurs and doing that. These are made up here, by the way, to beat Everton. Anyway, up the Toffees. It finished Spurs 2, Everton 1, but a great second half performance by the Toffees and a great reception from the away end.
It is the Blue Room. It is your instant match reaction for Tottenham 2, Everton 1. Somehow, some way, the Toffees have lost that football match. Joining me are Dave Downey and Pete McFarlane. Dave, I mean, where do you even start with that? It's so difficult to pick the bones out of, because genuinely, at one point I thought we're going to lose 5-0 here, and then we're sat here now thinking we've absolutely dominated one of the best teams in the league at their place for about 80 minutes of that football match, and should have come away with something. But it's heartbreaking, but I'm proud of the lads and proud of the manager for the way in which they fought back there, because they could have easily gone under, couldn't they?
Yeah, they could have. And, I think it epitomised what we've been saying about Sean Dyche for quite some time, certainly in the 4-game win on the trot in the Premier League. But yeah, I mean, after 10 minutes, after conceding a couple of silly goals, the second one in particular pissed me off, because you've got pretty much 10 lads throwing themselves at the ball and a little bit of luck and it goes in. And then when it went 2-0, just before we started, I thought this is going to be they're going to be rampant all afternoon, as Spurs. And then I'm not too sure, thinking back quickly, what changed almost immediately for us to.
But do you know what it was, Dave? It was Gomes coming on.
Sorry.
That completely changed the game in our favour.
I don't think any of us, certainly this season or forever, at our football club will be talking about how good he is when he actually turns up as a player. I think that one of the commentators said it's 2 years since he scored a goal at Everton. It's pretty much nearly 2 years since he played, I think, something like that. And it was a brave decision from Dyche to put him on. But my word, when he came on, he absolutely ripped that game apart himself. He controlled it. He looked really quick as well. It didn't even look like the same player that we were all kicking off about 18 months ago. And like you say there, he dealt with everything that we had in the midfield, created chances. I think when it goes out to Mikalenko as well, he was really good again with himself on that side. Harrison too. There's nobody out of that 11, Matt, and we've just lost the game 2-1 that you can particularly say was poor today. And that's remarkable. I can't think. Maybe I'm going a little bit too far because we're 10 minutes after the game, but I can't think of a match where certainly Everton at least have played that well and not come away with at least a point from a match. And I tell you what, Spurs, I'm going to listen to one of their podcasts because we know a couple of people who do them down there. Be really, really interested to hear what they say about that.
Yeah, Pete, how do you feel after that, mate? It's a very weird combination, isn't it? Absolutely devastated and quite proud.
Yeah, I think the fact that we are so devastated with a narrow 2-1 defeat away at Spurs, I think that kind of sums it up. I think that the players showed incredible character, incredible perseverance. I thought that we dominated such large parts of that game, and that's not something that we can often say when we go to one of these so-called big sides away from home. I thought that the performance to a man was absolutely superb. Like Dave said, it was disappointing, certainly the second goal in particular. It was so disappointing to go 2 goals down so sort of early on in the game, but we were absolutely superb. I certainly don't think that it's it's certainly not the time for us to start losing our heads. I know a few results from today sort of went against us in theory, but I'll be honest, after that performance today, and and given the performances that we've been putting in for the past, 6 or 7 weeks minimum, in fact, probably most of the season, I don't think I'm worried about how we're going to end this season. I think we should be looking up and not down. And as I say, the quality in our side shone through today, and it was just so unfortunate that we couldn't take.
Yeah, like I know you, Dave, were worried about these two games in particular, and the toll it would have on us. But it's one of them, isn't it? Like Pete was saying there, as much as it's weird to say, we've lost and we have results go for us today, but it's not one of them. You'd imagine that they'd be going into Finch Farm tomorrow or on Boxing Day preparing for that City game, and everyone's feeling sorry for themselves. Everyone's devastated by the result. It's when Spurs go 2-0 up, I'm thinking back to Lampard's first season where we concede too early there and go under 5-0, and it's an absolute rout. You'd imagine the manager will be drilling in throughout that game, throughout the days afterwards about that game, that there was, 90%, 80% of that football match was really, really good.
It was, and you can't fault any of them there. And you're right, when they go into training, coming up to this crucial game just after Christmas against City at home. I mean, it's really interesting to say this, and I think it'll sound strange to people who haven't watched that match, which I know we have plenty of people don't watch it, plenty of people of other fans. I think that's the best we played all season. Everything we did, there was no route one. The only criticism I'd have, I think Beto should have gone on earlier, and I think he probably should have gone for Dom, because I thought Dom was anonymous for most of that game. And people will say that, well, that's because of the delivery and things like that. But the irony with that is we played so well with the ball on the floor in the entirety through the midfield, putting the ball out left and right. It wasn't a conventional performance that we've seen win games this season, and that's what was particularly surprising for me. We were happy to play through their midfield, particularly when Gomes came on. We looked like a different side. I'm not too sure that's one the Dyche will have played for too much, him coming on at all, really. But when you have him, you completely re-see his quality, and without a shadow of a doubt, naming it early, he was the man of the match for us. Onana as well, I thought he stood back up for everything that we've banged on about this week for what happened against Fulham. Even the one side of it, I think that they tried to manipulate for us was Patterson. I think he struggled for a lot of the game. I think they were trying to get at him a lot. But yeah, sorry to jump in there. I actually thought he was good today, Patterson. It felt like it took Mikalenko 20 minutes to get into the game. Early on, I was thinking he's not fit there, but he kind of grew into it. But he just looked a little bit rusty. And I think that first goal comes down that channel, doesn't he? Where him and Branthwaite, who've been so good together, the last few weeks, it looked like. It looked like a player in Branthwaite who played at left back and missed a game, and it looked like a player in Mikalenko who'd been out for a couple of games, just not quite having that chemistry again. And as the game went on, they found it again, didn't they? Well, you've also got to respect who they're playing against there as well.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about
that first goal. It's a good move, isn't it? It's a really good slick passing move, and we just get carved open a bit. The second one is sloppy and shite from our point of view, but the first goal is really good for their point of view.
That first one, I was fuming at Tarkowski, to be honest with you, because Richarlison steps in front of him to get that touch, that puts it in on the near post. Can't blame Pickford that easy because it goes past him because it's too close. It's inside the 6-yard box. He's not going to get a chance to get down and save that. But yeah, when I re-looked at it, I think Tarkowski should be in front of him there, or at least get a challenge in where he stops him from scoring. And then lo and behold, that goes in. And again, like we have a couple of times, like we said there, you're looking at it thinking, yeah, I'll be turning this off in about half an hour. It could be game over. And I'm checking the score at full time. But just going back to what we were saying there about the fullback areas, you look at the four that are up there for them. You've got Son up against Patterson, and he really likes switching sides of the pitch. You've got Brennan Johnson as well, who they seem to really like, and I'm not too sure. He's throwing himself all over the place in that game. He was pissing me off quite a lot. And then Kulusevski, he's one of my favourite players in the Premier League. I think he's outstanding. To keep him quiet is a real plus to those lads. Should be praised for how they played in that match, really. Because like I say, to go 2-0 down after 20 minutes and then grow into a game, I haven't seen that level of confidence from us to be able to do that. Because like we said there, the cliche is you're probably going to get battered there. You think the same as when we go away down in London. It's often that case where you get past Everton once, then that's the key to the game, probably over. the way in which they went back, the attitude of all of them as well should be praised, and it will be praised, I think. And we banged them. Well, I have anyway. Banged them moaned about the 3 fixtures we've had over the festive period. That's the first one done. We should have already at least taken a point from that. And yeah, I mean, it makes. I mean, I don't know what you think about this. Looking at that City game on the 27th there, that galvanised what you think we can go and do there, or would you? Because and the reason why I ask you that question is I think the obvious answer is yes, of course. But when you play that way and your confidence grows, you're going into play a side who's better than Tottenham, if you get what I mean. So I'm not too sure how I feel about that going forward. But if Everton can play like that, particularly away from home, we'll be. Well, I say comfortable anyway. You think we're comfortable anyway, but we'll win more games away from home. Much more games away from home. If we go there and play like that on a counter attack as well.
Yeah, like 100%. And it's one of them where, like, as much as we've won recently and kept clean sheets, it was like, how do you respond to that setback early on? Because if you're playing against a good team with like excellent forward players, like sometimes you can find yourself 2-0 down without doing loads wrong. And like Everton teams in the past would have like totally sunk there and rolled over and not really given any kind of response and battle back, but we managed to. Pete, I think you're back with us now, aren't you?
I am, yeah.
There we go.
Sorry about that.
No, it's absolutely fine, mate. We've got you now. Just in regards to the star of the show, really, Andre Gomes. Before we broaden this out a little bit, looking ahead. I mean, when he came on, I sort of thought, like, well, Dyche thinks this game's gone as well because he's given Andre a 75-minute run out, wants to have a look at him, wants to see what he can do. But my word, just a bit of a reminder of what a class footballer he can be when he's at his best. We've obviously not seen it in Everton's share for. I think the last time he played for us was in that 3-2 win over Palace, where he got dragged off at half time after stinking the gaff out at Goodison in the first half. But he looked absolutely incredible, didn't he? It was like the Andre Gomes that we'd first signed.
Well, that's it. And I think people tend to forget just how good a footballer is in there. I think Gomes, obviously, when he got his injury, ironically against Tottenham, when Son hacked him down and he ended up breaking his leg. I don't think Gomes ever really fully recovered from that. But I certainly know that when he went over to play in France, I know people refer to it as a bit of a farmers league, but I know that he was getting rave reviews over there, and he seemed like he was getting a bit of form back. He's been unlucky again with injuries just before the start of the season, but I'm of the opinion that there is a good player in there. It's just trying to find him and fit him in the system correctly. And I think today, his passing range, the fact that he can spread the ball with either foot. He's got high energy. He's really unlucky as well not to get an assist today. When the Tottenham player throws himself down, like
we'll talk about that, mate. Don't worry, I'm saving that for the end. Yeah,
but I think I'd say Andre Gomes. There is a player in there. Again, it's just trying to find him in the right system. You're right, though. I mean, I do remember that Crystal Palace game, and he was like a rabbit in the headlights. He looked mentally gone by half time. His head had completely gone. So there is always that sort of potential frailty there. But I just think overall, I mean, people might hit back at me for this after one good game, but I do genuinely think that there is a classy footballer in there. It's just trying to get the best out of him. And today, thankfully, we've seen a glimpse of that, and I just hope that he can keep that form up. Obviously, we can't really rely on him too much because he's out of contract at the end of the season. You'd have to have a really, really strong run of form now for us to justify giving him any kind of extension. But certainly when you see a player come off the bench who hasn't played in so long, when they come on and make that kind of impact, it's a huge positive for us. And certainly all of a sudden, it's another name to add in the squad who can actually come on and do a job.
I suppose the other thing as well, like we've got Idrissa Gueye going to AFCON, haven't we, in a few weeks? So having another central midfielder there is ideal. But like, I don't think he's going to play every week, Dave. I don't think he's going to necessarily play in like a midfield too. But it sort of feels like if you use him right and you say, be advanced and get involved in the attacking side of the game and get on the ball in the final third, start the odd game, come off the bench for half an hour every now and then, like. He's got the ability, hasn't he, to make an impact and give us something different in that midfield. There's whatever you think of him, there's absolutely no denying that.
Yeah, I mean, I think many people as well, you two keep your feet on the ground there, but it's easy to exaggerate on a player that's like him. I think what he said there was perfect in terms of he became so frustrating, didn't he? I mean, we all raved about him when he first came to us, and probably too much then, to be fair. Obviously, he looks like a perfect midfield footballer as well, doesn't he? He's a good-looking fellow who strolls around with the football in the midfield. Very easy to like that, and perhaps that's what I'm getting a little bit too carried away with here. But yeah, I mean, what you've mentioned there about Idrissa, I haven't even thought about that in the last couple of weeks when he goes through. But yeah, I think you're right. I think you don't automatically start going too far, saying, "Oh, look at him, he's come back. He's the original midfielder we got. He got a bit more experience. He's been off somewhere else. He's fully fit again." Which clearly Dice wouldn't be putting him on if he wasn't clearly fit either. So yeah, I mean, it'll be really interesting how we see this now, particularly with how quick these games coming along, because. To me, he looked like, and again, this is just in a bit of a nutshell, seeing him for what 80 minutes, 70 minutes, whatever it was. There was a different attitude the way in which he played. I can't remember when he was so dominant on the ball. He so many times. Postecoglou's clearly got that front four I was mentioning to push on as soon as they can, to press as soon as they can. He was happy to receive the ball in our own half and just lay it off to somebody, and it looked really, really comfortable. Now, they're not going to be the kind of games we're getting every week, but I completely agree with you. I think, you don't look at that and say, right, Idrissa Gueye's gone, you start him in straight away. I think it's a little bit more complex than that. At the same time as well, on the other side of that, it's Onana too. Like I said, he wasn't near as good as Gomes, but there was a little bit more of consistency, and he found himself back to how he was. I thought there was a little bit of he wasn't fully all himself. He wasn't fully putting, no, I don't want to say full effort in, but he didn't seem to step forward as he has done in other games. Maybe that's because of who we're playing, but it wasn't the dominant physical process that we normally see from him there. But then that had me thinking about that's your midfield. Your midfield too is Gomes, Onana, and Garner. I mean, that's something you look at with real optimism there, I think, without getting too carried away of Gomes. But if you think that's your alternative there, you've got Decore coming in, which we badly missed, I thought, for the first half, not being able to get up and near Dom. You all of a sudden you've got a selection there. You've got a squad to choose from. I mean, when he's back, I'm not too. You'll have heard better than me, Matt, how long Decore is out for.
I mean, I think he'll probably be. I'd be surprised if he played against City based on what the manager said.
Just a couple of weeks, then basically, yeah, you'd suggest. I mean, then you've got him in there. The one mystery that I want to talk about, probably not too much, really, considering everything else. That one was Danjuma. It was the best game I've seen him have for Everton, but it was like it had me like
he was still like so annoying, wasn't he? Like he still did me head in the entire time.
I was going to say, mate, he's got what's left of my hair pulling it out. Yeah. Honestly, he was just and that bit of skill that when he first came on the left hand side was outrageous. You look at that and you think, how are you not that good? But then his choice of what he does when he's got the ball free. I mean, if he squares that it's the crossbar. It might well have been given offside anyway. But Beto's got a tap in there. I think that's an issue of why he's probably ended up at us. Back to your old saying, there's a reason players end up at Everton.
He's one of them. Like he's quite selfish, isn't he, as a player? Like
well, he definitely was then.
Well, maybe selfish is harsh, but he's very I think he's very similar to Damari Gray in the sense that when you get the ball, like unless you're like in acres of space, in an obvious position, you're not going to get it because he doesn't really ever get his head up, does he? It's like, right, I've got it. How can I have a shot?
Yeah.
Or how can I score? Like that feels like his game. But I mean, listen, in another, it's one of them, isn't it? Like this week, we've had Idrissa Gueye's penalty hit the post and bounce out, and we've had Danjuma's shot bounce off the bar and hit the goalkeeper's knee, and it's half a centimetre out from going over the lines. Like, in another universe, you could be sat here going, "Wow, what an impact he made! He came on, tore their right back to bits and scored an equaliser for us." But I mean,
by the way, did you not notice that Gomez's goal was almost identical to what Dom's goal was this lad?
Well, yeah, I'm saving that for the end, Dave, because I want to kick off a bit about the officials. But Pete, what do you think about Danjuma, Pete? Because I think it's fair to say, I think Harrison struggled against today. He had that one lovely little pass into James Garner, which he hit the post from, but I don't know. I just don't really get Jack Harrison at the moment, and I feel like he's not quite at it. And Danjuma's come on against Fulham. I thought he did quite well. I think he did quite well today. It's one of them you look at and think maybe it's time now for a bit of a change out wide or not.
I'm of the opinion of sticking with Jack Harrison. I'll be honest with you. I think that Harrison offers so much more in terms of work rate, in terms of just putting teams on the back foot, and also being able to pick out a pass, which Danjuma seems to be totally incapable of doing. I think Danjuma did well today, but I think you summed it up perfectly there, where I thought he was great in part, but he was still so frustrating. He's had 2 or 3 opportunities there where he's either held onto the ball too long and lost it, or he's made the wrong decision. He's been selfish, and sometimes as a forward, you do want your forwards to be selfish sometimes, but in certain positions, there's the other one where he flashed it across with his left foot, and the keeper does pull off a good save. Again, I think if he has more composure, he should be able to pick out a pass. The one where he hits the bar, again, he's really unfortunate. It's the way it bounces down. I'd like to see how that stayed off the line, to be honest with you. The angle I've seen I know that camera angles can be deceptive, but I'm not entirely sure that didn't go over the line.
I've not seen it back again, but it looks like it's in.
It can't have though, lads. It can't have gone off because we have that decision.
It probably, yeah, but with your eye, it looks like. It's hit the goalie's knee, hasn't it? Like, and he's but
yeah.
He's a dodgy keeper in, by the way. He's a proper dodgy keeper.
I think so. I thought he was excellent.
He was good today, but I just think he put a cross in. There was so many times the ref gave it to him, the benefit of the doubt. Anything that goes in near him, you put any, like I think Brandwaite a couple of times stood in front of him, wasn't touching him, and then the referee just says free kick as soon as the ball comes in. I know that often happens with goalkeepers anyway. They always get the benefit of the doubt, but maybe it's just because I just felt like he was a bit of a bellend. I'm not sure why, just because we didn't get one past them.
But I mean, going back to what you were saying as well about in terms of having players in that squad, and maybe about freshening it up a bit. I mean, we have seen glimpses from Danjuma today. If someone can get in his head and say to him, "Get your head up every now and again and have a look for one of your teammates when you're in these good positions," then he could be effective for us. But as I say, for me, I just think that when he's got this one-track mind and he's so intent on just basically looking out for himself all the time, I just think that that's what's lacking with him. And I think the way we're playing as a team and as a unit now, I don't think that Danjuma is the right option to start a game. I just don't think he's got that team mentality in him. And as I say, at the moment, we've got this sort of really tight unit of players who are fighting and working and trying so hard as a collective. I think bringing someone like Danjuma in might upset that. And again, in terms of just the crowd and everything, I just think that when you've got a player like that, if they're on top form and they're banging goals in and they're doing these outrageous things, then it's great. But if they're not doing that, they tend to get more frustrated and they tend to take more pot shots and they tend to almost, they're desperate to try and prove themselves so much that it becomes, a detriment to the side. And I just think someone like Jack Harrison, although he may have frustrating periods, what you can never question is his work rate and his commitment to that team collectively. So that's my only reservation with Danjuma, is that I just don't think he offers us that amount of team ethic, which I think is a large thing of what Sean Dyche's teams are based on. But having said that, like you said, we've got such a run of fixtures coming up over the festive period. I'm sure we'll see more of Danjuma. I'm sure we'll see more of Gomes and others as well. But we just need to, as I say, keep that team unity. But again, going back to my opinions of today, although we've been beaten in terms of scoreline, I certainly don't feel defeated. I think the players showed so much character today, and we can take a lot out of today and bring that into the coming fixtures as well.
Just the one thing there, Matt, before you carry on the Danjuma chat we've just been having there. I think wingers like him, you get more out of them if you do bring them on from the bench, because you've got a right back there who was a Porro for them, and he's up against a completely different player. When you swap that, it must take a long time from a mental point of view for the right back to think, hang on, I've got a completely different type of player here to deal with. And I thought that's why he was at his best in beating people on that side. Again, like typical wingers, I think you see so many wingers in the game who don't get the end product, but they're able to do some ridiculous things at the time. And I think that's what we've got in him. Again, similar to Gomes, he's not going to start. Well, he hasn't started since we got him in either, has he? I think the only one he did start, the only goal he got was Sheffield United away, wasn't it?
That's the couple, hasn't he? Started against Fulham at home, and
yeah. So I mean, I don't know. It's that time of year, isn't it? When you get into January, now's the time. That many games in a row, you see injuries all over the place, which we've notoriously had many times this past the year. I don't think we're going to go in and get any players given the situation we're in. It'd only be loans, so. These lads are going to have to be important there, but yeah. Go on, sorry.
I was just going to say, I think like what we've seen today is like if you bring Gomes and Danjuma on, like they're not going to be liabilities necessarily. Like I think like Dyche is like, we've seen him and the way he's set his teams up, and you've got late in games and you're thinking, right, come on, make some changes, but in the same breath, it's like, well, does he trust Danjuma? Does he trust player X or player Y? Like. Danjuma came on against Fulham. I think it did pretty well. Did pretty well again today. Gomes obviously came on today really early on, was the best player on the pitch. And it's like, you can give these lads 20, 30 minutes every now and then. And maybe like it means that like McNeil, who I thought was really struggling today with he looked absolutely knackered at times. Like, these players don't have to play 95, 100 minutes every single week, and we might be in a better position. But yeah, listen, Danjuma, he's a funny one. His movement's so good. He seems to find space all the time, like
and
on the counter attack. He's quick as well. And he's obviously got like that bustling style. He's quite strong, but if he just got his head up every now and then, I think, like you said, Dave, he probably won't be playing for us, to be brutally honest. But there's clearly a player in there, and if we can get, there's been talk, hasn't there, about him going back to Villarreal over the last few weeks. But I think he's shown today and against Fulham that if we use him in the right way, you can definitely have a positive impact there. But just wanted to finish off by talking about the officials. I don't know what you guys think, but we should have a penalty in the first half, 100%. It's a blatant share pull on Anana. I think we had one where Decore pulled one of the Forest players, didn't we, a few weeks ago, which was highlighted by everybody and slammed as a dreadful decision. I think that one's much more obvious, and much worse. The goal we have disallowed, I think it's probably just a foul, but I don't think it's one which necessarily needs to go to the VAR. If you're going to interfere with that,
and he's only transferred. Matt. He's only changed his decision because VAR have said you need to check this again. Dave, and it's a shitbag. The shitbag thing, what our referees do in this country.
Is that more of an obvious wrong decision than the penalty in the first half? It's not, is it?
I don't know. See, where I don't know, because the penalty there with Kulusevski pulls the shirt. I don't often see them as being given as penalties, even though they're
I just think that one's so blatant. Like, he has all of his shirt for like 5-6 seconds, and it's like, it's not just like a little tug on his shirt. It's like, it's almost ripping. You can see all of Anana's like vest he's got on, can't you? Because like his shirt's that far dragged.
It's the area where the ball's dropping as well. That's the area that the ball was actually aimed for, and he stops Onana's run, and he stops him being able to actually physically jump.
No, but what I'm saying, the point, sorry, Pete, the point I'm making about that is, you don't see that as 100% decision by any other, most referees. They'll instantly give that, and you don't see VAR saying, "Come and check this out," because it happens so many times. It happens, like we've seen with fouls and stuff like that, where it happens so often that there's almost like a cliche decision already made for them, and that to me is what pissed me off a hell of a lot more. Because you're right, Matt, it was more of a pen. But to a referee, I think it's completely opposite. I think that he's looked at what happened with Patterson, and he's had someone in his ear saying, "You need to go and check this again." When that happens, immediately, 99% of the time, they go and say, "Yeah, no, that's not Everton. We're not having Everton there scoring that goal. It's a free kick to Spurs. Let's carry on with the game." But I completely agree. It sounds, I'm talking a bit weird here, but I agree that should have been the penalty more so than Patterson's foul that wasn't given for us.
It was Gomes, wasn't it, who won the ball back for us, I think?
Sorry.
It was Gomes,
who won the ball? Was it Gomes,
Gomes,
Yeah, sorry, Gomes it was, wasn't it? Yeah. But that looks so soft. And then the one you said there from that corner where he's grabbing his shirt, like Pete says, there for so long as well. And like you said, 5-6 seconds. It's blatant and it wasn't even checked.
Pete, what do you think about? I mean, the Gomes one. It's like it seems like the classic one of them. Where, like in real time, I had no doubts that it was not a foul, and Emerson just gone down very, very softly, and then you see it in slow motion. You think, well, it looks a lot worse than it is because you've slowed it down. You can see like a little
Yeah.
bit of contact, and he goes. But in real time, I didn't think it was a foul at all.
But I think that's the thing, though. People tend to forget that football is a contact sport. I think the Tottenham player, the way he goes down, there is no need for him to go down the way he did. So clearly,
No, because he knows he's going to get it. That's why.
Yeah, and that's it. But that's the thing. But you see so-called fouls like that time and time again that don't get given. That just don't get given throughout a game of football. Be the referee. The thing that gets me the most is, like you said about re-refereeing a game, is that the referee has a clear view of it. The linesman has a clear view of it. He's yards away, the linesman. He's bang on line with it. Now, they've made that decision. Now, what's clear and obvious about that is the referee saying that he hasn't seen any contact. Because I think that I can't see how he hasn't seen that there is some kind of contact. But is it enough for him to go down? Not a chance at all. He left his leg where it was because he was waiting for contact. And that, for me, it's frustrating. I mean, I can looking back at it, if it was the other way round and it was one of our and it was a goal against us, then I'd probably say, yeah, come on, that's a foul. But I just think in terms of what VAR is supposed to be there for, I think the referees made the decision, and I think the linesman's made the decision. And
well, the linesman's right. Look, sorry, the linesman's looking right at it, isn't he, Pete? Like he's so close to it, and he sees it in real time. It's like one of them where. Like I said, I probably think it is like just a foul. Like I'm probably like 55-45. It's a foul by Gomes, but you know what's this for? Like is you have to come in and like change every decision like that? Because the one in the first half is like that's like 90-10 a penalty in our favour, and it doesn't interfere. So it's just dead annoying, isn't it?
It is, and that's the point. It's how VAR is implemented. And it needs to be clarified, because we keep hearing this thing about, VAR is not there to re-referee a game. Well, VAR did re-referee that particular instance, and that for me is not clear. There's nothing that the replay showed that you wouldn't have seen in real time. There may have been, whether there's contact or there is clear contact, but I personally don't believe it's enough for the player to go down. When you slow it down, and like you said before, when you slow anything down, everything looks worse, doesn't it? But actually, when you look at the way Gomes comes running in, the pace of the game, everything else, I don't see how they can say it's a clear and obvious error by the referee, or what the suggestion is that the referee is absolutely wrong. Do you know what I mean? Because I think the referee has seen contact, but thought it wasn't enough to make him go down the way he did. I think Tottenham got away with one, put it that way.
I was just going to say quickly on that, with the officials, the lino doesn't give it, the referee doesn't give it. Why on earth should that go to VAR then? You've got two officials there. Neither of them said it was a foul. Why does that go in? Regardless of them banging down his ear, saying, yeah, you need to check this again, you need to check this again. Well, why is the lino standing there, not going over to him and saying, do you think that was a foul, mate? Before he even goes towards VAR. It's look, it's a situation, isn't it? And a conversation that's become so boring to talk about because it's been that bad, and there's no way it's ever going to change.
Yeah, I'm more worried about the penalty in the first half, to be honest. Like that's the more blatant decision.
Do you reckon Onana would have took it?
If he would have taken it, it would have been Dom, wouldn't it? Probably.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
or maybe bring Keane to take it after the way he struck his on Tuesday.
Tarkovsky pinged his as well, didn't he? I don't want to talk about Tuesday.
It would have annoyed me even more if Onana did take it and slammed it in. I'll be honest.
yeah, giving it loads to our fans, shushing them. Yeah. Oh God, frustrated, proud, but also sitting here quite looking forward to the City game now as well.
I didn't think, Matt, that I can't remember myself coming off a game where I felt like this, and I'm not just saying that because you'd have more of a passionate feeling after you've come off with a performance like that. But I can't think back, certainly not for a long time, where I thought we deserve more than this. I know we've had them games where other sides, like that Brighton game earlier this season, we played pretty well, probably deserved 3 points, and they go and score in the last minute.
Do you know what, Dave? Like we've had games this season, like people will go to the home games like Luton, Fulham and Wolves. But I think that's like the most dominant we've been in a game this season and not won. Like, like genuinely, I think like 80% of that game we were the better side. Like we have a really bad 10 minutes. They score a really good goal, then they score a scrappy goal, which we should do better from, and we wobble a little bit. And like Brennan Johnson has that chance, doesn't he, as well in between those, and you're thinking, this could get out of hand quickly. But apart from that, we're excellent. And the annoying thing about the goal Dom scored as well is like it was such a good finish, and like you think like that would have given him so much more confidence because he feels like he needs a bit of a goal at the moment. He's not quite at it, and like finishing a strike like that and getting us back into the game would have like his shoulders would have lifted, wouldn't they? Instead, it's one of them where he's probably thinking, God, this is typical for the run I'm on at the moment.
Yeah, with him, I am a little bit more concerned. I think that many other people will be. Having said that, the opposite side of it is I'm a lot more comfortable with Beto coming on when he's needed to come on, and when he's just been put on for the sake of it at times. I think when that go-to sub for Dice, I think, is really handy for us now because he looks like he's settled quite a bit. He's a real nuisance, that fella, when he comes on. What I don't think would work if you had the two of them on at the same time. I just don't think that's going to ever work at all. But with Dom himself, like I said, I think a big part of how we played today was because the Corey wasn't up there with him. Nobody else got really that close to him up there either. So it's feeding on scraps, isn't it, for days like that? But like you say there, that goal would have been huge for him because the finish of it as well was just a brilliant finish. And don't get me wrong. I think throughout that game, he was winning. He was winning 50% more headers when it was going up to him than the defenders they had. But like I said, there's nobody to really give it to, and then he moves on. I reckon as well, if he got in his own head after games like that, he must be furious. Not obviously the people in and around him, but the way in which he's standing there looking for as many shots like that. It's the type of thing when he scores a goal like that, he wants to turn around to everyone and say, "Look what I can do here." Because you look at what happened against Fulham. You look at what's happened in many games this season when he doesn't score. People are like, "Nah, he's not good enough. You've got to get rid of him. He's just not good enough. He can't score. He just doesn't get involved. Doesn't get into decent positions to finish. He can't finish." You hear a lot of people saying things about that lad, and I do have a lot of sympathy for him.
Oh yeah.
Mate, you look like you need a good little drink, mate.
Well, I am now. People who are watching on YouTube, you don't put your cameras on, but I've been on the draft machine in my in-laws' house here.
I was going to say to certain people, is that just a glass of apple juice? Is it?
Look at this background. Got like a nice festive background and everything. You guys, people who are watching on YouTube, thinking, why haven't the lads put the cameras on? But
is that your whiskey? Is it?
I smashed the tree up on the second one in.
Threw it out the window. No, Dave,
Yeah.
that's not whiskey. That is like half a pint. So if it was whiskey,
all right, okay, fair.
Yeah.
Because I know you do like your whiskey, don't you?
Yeah. I'll save that for when we beat City. But yeah, let's leave it there anyway. Cheers to Dave. Cheers to Pete. That'll be our last show, I think, before Christmas.
Yeah.
So
we'll have the Monday show will be probably the following Monday.
I mean, Dave, I like you a lot, but I'm not going to record on Christmas Day with you, I don't think.
I was going to come and knock at yours with a big load of presents as well, mate. I'll just take them back.
Yeah.
Are you two not joining me for? Are you two not joining me for a Dwight McNeil Christmas special?
Oh no! Hang on. Can we put this to bed now, Pete? Please.
I feel Pete like you should save if when he scores against City on the 27th,
or when he plays remotely well because he was awful today.
Yeah, he was crap today, wasn't he? Yeah.
Look at Pete's silence. Pete's absolute silence. that shows you that he was poor. He won't even say a word about him now. He's gone.
But yeah, we'll leave it there. Tune in on the 27th for Pete's Dwight McNeil sing-song when he scores a hat-trick against Man City.
Yeah. Just one more thing, Matt. One more thing. We've got bags of shows that we've done in the last couple of days. You've got Les's brand new show as well. I always forget.
Really good. Old, new, borrowed blue.
Yeah. Paddy's on there is absolutely brilliant. I think we've got mine on there next week as well. We've got loads of that coming, mostly on a weekly basis. We've got a chat that me and Warren did as well, which is sort of about the game, but there's plenty of other stuff on it. There's loads of stuff coming up over Christmas as well. So, and also, if you want to sign up for our Patreon, it's there maybe is a little bit of an extra present for somebody as well. It's only $5 a month. So yeah, Bagful still coming up. We're not taking our time off. We're not taking any work off, are we? Matt's still got plenty of stuff coming to the new year.
Yeah, absolutely. Man City on the 27th, as we
Yeah.
said. And vote for us as well in the Sports Podcast Awards. If you like our stuff, it'll be a huge help.
You've got to do it as well, otherwise we'll keep moaning about it, won't we?
Yeah. Well, Nana owed us one from Tuesday. Maybe the referee owes us one from today because he was shite, wasn't he? So shoot us out well if you're listening. Get on and vote for us, you bastard. We'll leave it there. We'll be back. We'll be back after Manchester City. Cheers for listening, Blues. Thanks for all the support. Thanks for listening throughout the year. Happy Christmas. We'll speak to you again very soon here on the Blue Room.